When I was in Rome, I had the opportunity to sit down with Father Kelvin Santis. Father Kelvin is from Bombay, India, and when he arrived in Rome, he had the opportunity to serve a Mass for Pope Leo. Father Kelvin sees his time in Rome as a tremendous gift and a responsibility. He's a bit of a millennial in that when he felt called to the Catholic priesthood, he searched Google for the next steps. I think you'll really enjoy this conversation, so let's get into it. Well, thank you, Father Kelvin,
Nice
for
to meet you.
spending time here and coming to do this interview with us. We're still here in Rome, and we're here with Father Kelvin. And so, Father Kelvin, can you tell us a little bit about your vocation story?
Um, so my name is Kelvin. I come from the country called India. I belong to a diocese, the Archdiocese of Bombay.
Okay.
Bombay is the financial capital of the country.
Yes.
And so I don't have a very grand vocation story, as like usually you would hear people say, like, right from my childhood I had this feeling. I grew up in a very Catholic home. I come from a home where I had a lot of women around, because I had
Okay.
my grandmothers who stayed with us.
Oh, wow.
I had my mother and my two elder sisters.
Wow. Okay.
And my dad worked abroad, and so I met Dad once a year when he came down for holidays.
Wow.
Because otherwise he was doing his duty of being a faithful father, providing for the family,
Wow.
while sacrificing a lot staying abroad. And so that was the setup in which we grew up. We come from a very religious family also, so family prayers were very important. I remember that it was a given that you have to be in time at home in the evening, because the family got together to say their usual family prayers. But I grew up in a setting where God was important, but he was not something that I had a personal relationship with.
Yes.
And so it was just part of the routine, or rather a very ritual understanding of what faith was, till I reached a point of my college. And I entered college and I became part of a prayer group of young people who came together to just discuss about God and faith. And as I was part of this group, there was something in me that kept the curiosity going, and I started questioning things about God, because I knew I'd heard a lot about God, but I didn't have a personal relationship with him. And it was at this point that once I started to have a discussion with other young people about their faith, their experiences, that I got curious. And so I continued being part of this small group. And after I finished my university, this group offered me a kind of a job opportunity. And it was basically to go and serve in other areas of the country as a missionary. And so I remember after university, directly, instead of taking a job, I volunteered to be a missionary and travel around different regions of the country, which were unimaginably far.
Wow.
And so I left home, I went there, and I went to a place where it was so cut off from other elements of society that they would have the Eucharist celebrated only once a month.
Wow.
Because the priest would have to travel from a far distance. And so it happened that while I was participating in this Eucharist, I felt a calling saying that, it would be nice if you were a priest, because people would not have to wait for Mass. And that was the first time I remember as a young boy, and I immediately put that away, because that was not a thought that I wanted to dwell into.
Yeah.
But then it kept coming back to me. And I came back. I'm also coming back, since I was the only one at home at that point of time. I didn't know how my family would handle this news that I wanted to be a priest. And so I came back, I thought about it a little bit, and I spoke to my parents. My parents were very excited. I didn't see that coming, but they were very excited hearing that I have felt this calling. And so they told me to get in touch with the priest. I got in touch with the seminary, and initially I had no idea how one becomes a priest, because I didn't have anybody in my family who was a priest. So I did what most teenagers would do. I went on Google and I typed, how do you become a priest in Bombay? And the first telephone number that came, I contacted them and I told them, this is something I feel and something I'm considering. So I got called, and thankfully that number was of the bishop of the diocese. So I think it's it's a good marketing deal to keep your numbers
Yeah.
available for everybody. But so that's when I got in touch with the bishop. I met the bishop, and he spoke to me. He was quite interested in my story, and that's how I went when I went. Throughout my journey in life, there's one thing that I've always felt strongly. I honestly do not have a clear blueprint of, how to go about discerning a vocation,
Yeah.
because I think everybody has such a different path that you take. But at no point in my life did I feel I was alone. I felt God walking very closely with me, and I think for me that really helped me to say yes to Him in spite of the challenges. I know that when I went to the seminary, the first thing I told the rector is, I have a bike. I don't want to sell my bike because in case I don't make it, I would want to use it again. And he said, don't worry, you are free to use your bike and keep it. And because, when one joins the seminary, it's also a long process of discernment.
Yes.
It's not like you join, you have to become a priest. You keep discerning what God is calling you to do. And I think that is what seminary really helped me to, and that is what has brought me where I am today.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great, that's an incredible story. I mean, and it's come up a couple times that guys really don't know what the first step is, to becoming a priest. So that's great. It's a sort of little ad there for Google optimization. Make sure your number's there. Welcome to the rooftop of the Pontifical University of the Holy Cross in Rome. I invite you to join me this October 12th through the 16th on pilgrimage. We'll visit St. Peter's Basilica, walk in the footsteps of St. Francis in Assisi, and learn from world-class professors here at the university. Go to puhcf.org/Rome to sign up. Spots are filling up very fast, so please go there today. Ciao. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're studying here at Santa Croce?
So at Santa Croce, my diocese has sent me to do my license in church history.
Oh, wow.
I came here about 9 months ago. I began my studies 9 months ago. And I've come here to basically dwell and understand more about the church from antiquity to where we are now, understanding the whole process of its formation, because I think history is such an important element in every aspect of life, not only in terms of our faith, but also in terms of understanding how we have grown. And it made so much sense coming to Rome to study church history, because every path you walk here, you see elements of history, you're touching history itself, and history is so tangible in this part of the world. And I think for me, it's been a great experience understanding faith from this historical point of view. It was not something that I immediately understood when my bishop told me go and study this, because I thought of it more academically. But while I'm here and while I'm going through my courses, I see how this has also spiritually really uplifted me to understand that our faith has such a rich background from where we've come. And what we enjoy today so freely is built on the hard work, the blood and sweat of so many people who've gone before us to allow us to celebrate and enjoy everything that we have about our faith today.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. What about, how do you see your time here affecting your ministry back in India?
I think there's so much that I've learned by just being here. Firstly, the fact that this is the very center, in that sense, of where faith is celebrated, and I think where I come from is a whole different world. And so for me, initially, to basically see faith in a different lens, to a different perspective, really helped me to understand that there's not one way of being Catholic. You have different ways of celebrating, different ways of understanding. Also, your backgrounds, your culture influences how you study theology, how you understand theology. For me, my time here has really helped me to grow as a person. What I enjoy about Rome is the fact that the exposure it gives you in terms of also connecting with students from all over the world. I get to interact with students from Africa, from Europe, from America. And I think that interaction really builds us up. We all struggle with the language, but even in spite of the struggle, you should see us have conversations with each other. It's interesting, and it's also very uplifting. And I think this fraternity, this brotherhood, I think really helps us. For me also, how it helps me is all that I'm learning here now, I will be probably going back to serving in the seminary once I return back. And so I take all these experiences along with me, not only the academic qualification or the studies that I am doing, but also my interaction with people who are different from us, and the acceptance that comes with when you interact with somebody who's different from you.
Yeah.
I think all that will help me in my ministry in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's great that you're gonna bring all that back to your brothers and the seminarians. That
Yes, because we often also continue to have, thanks to the internet, we can have conversations
Yes.
ongoing. So
Yeah.
I at least once a month or twice a month, I have brothers from my own diocese call me up and inquire how it's going, and I share
Yeah.
with them stories of what's happening, and it's fascinating to them also
Yeah.
to listen to different experiences of people, different the life of the church here is so different from where I come from. And I think each complements. There's so much that I can offer while I share my experiences with others, and there's so much I can learn from them when I listen to them. So I think that's a great experience that I'm having in Rome here.
Amazing, amazing. What about personally? What does it mean to you to be here studying near Pope Leo and in the heart of the church?
I remember the day I arrived was the 29th of June. So I went for my first entry into Rome was when I got to concelebrate a mass with Pope Leo, and,
Wow.
and I thought that was a brilliant start to my whole journey. And throughout my life, as I said earlier, also I've always felt the presence of God, and I think coming here for me was such a spiritual moment because I felt closely the presence of God. I also acknowledged that this is a very privileged and a blessed moment for me in my life, because I see that this is not an opportunity everybody gets.
Right.
And I'm not saying this because I am qualified enough or I am talented enough, but I look at this also as an opportunity to serve. That this is given to me along with the responsibility that comes, that I carry with this experience to then further help people that I will interact with in the future. So it's not a time of vacation or a nice Roman holiday that I'm enjoying here, but I look at it also in terms of a responsibility that I make the best use of my time that I get, by observing, by reading, by studying, by interacting with people, also by visiting different places. And while I gather all these experiences, it will contribute then to how I will serve the diocese in the future, the church in the future. For me, being here in Rome has been such a blessed time because I also came in during the Jubilee year. And so that was a beautiful experience. I got lots of opportunities to interact with groups that were visiting.
Rome was packed last year.
and also to see pilgrims and visitors, and then participate in so many of these Jubilee masses. For me, that was a beautiful experience to see faith come alive during such a beautiful time so I think each and every moment of this has been such a blessed moment, but I come with the awareness that it carries responsibility along with it also.
What were when you found out that you were going to be coming to Rome, what were your sort of hopes and dreams about coming to Rome, and then were there any challenges or concerns that you had?
I think my biggest challenge was learning a language, learning a completely new language, because everything was in Italian, and for me I thought that that would be a great challenge, but thankfully we've been able to tackle that. I started studying a little bit of Italian back home before I could, so I had a little process of learning Italian there. I came here, I did also another course in Italy, in Rome, where I learned the language, and each moment I'm learning something new, but the Italians are also people who are very kind, very welcoming, and so even if you're saying something wrong, they'll smile and they'll be, like, we understand everything that you're doing. What has really helped me is also the pastoral ministry that I get to do here. So every holiday during Christmas or during Easter, I go to a parish. I was fortunate to go to a parish in Florence. So where a priest welcomed me, and he gave me the opportunity to celebrate Mass, interact with the parishioners. And so that really helped me in building my language base. But apart from that, the fact that to move out of familiar territory to enter into something new has always been a challenge. And I think how would I adjust in a completely different environment, different cultural setting. But to be honest, I think it's not so much of a problem when you look at it. When you look at the experience you get at the end of the day, there is so much that you learn, and the process, it's so quick. I think these 9 months have just gone by without me even realizing,
Yeah.
because there's so much to do, so much to learn, and so much is happening that really the challenges are not really challenges. They are only mental blocks, but once you deal with them, I think life is quite comfortable here.
That's great. That's great. Back home in India, you worked very closely with your bishop there.
Yes.
What lessons did you learn from him in leadership and
So when I was ordained in the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic.
okay.
And so immediately after my ordination, I was called to be the secretary to Cardinal Oswald Gracias,
Oh, wow.
who is the Archbishop of my diocese, who was the Archbishop of my diocese. And so I worked with him for 4.5 years as his secretary. And I think for me that was a great learning experience. It was a very different pastoral experience, because I remember that when you desire to be a priest, or when you think of becoming a priest, nobody thinks of becoming a secretary. Everybody would think of serving in a parish, or preaching homilies. So initially I was confused at what is God really calling me to do, but when I was there in his office, and when I was working with him on a daily basis, I understood how God was showing me something completely new. And that was the time that I also realized that the priesthood is about, the sacraments, it's about ministering, but also governance. And for me, that was a great learning, to look at him, who has the experience behind him of leading a church. He was also at that point the head of the Asian Church, and he was part of the C9 with Pope Francis. So I saw him work so closely,
Wow.
At all these levels. And I think what really helped me is to understand how the church functions at the universal level, that how everything comes together, the correspondence. I also saw them deal with very sensitive issues, and deal with that calmness and that faith that, this is God's church, that we will really, that he will take care of it, while we are just instruments in his hands. So to really trust God, that he's always in control and he's looking after his church, was something that I learned working with him.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Have you, besides the masses, have you had any chances to meet Pope Leo in person?
No, not really.
Not yet.
I've had 2 or 3 interactions where we met him as a group, but never in person. I've never met him in person.
Very cool. I'm sure it'll happen soon. What about people who support, benefactors who support Santa Croce? What would you say to somebody about the experience that you've had here?
For me, the work of the benefactors is something that is so important, and I think something that cannot be sidelined, because they are the silent contributors to any story of any person becoming who they are. And especially in our story here at Santa Croce, we are so many priests studying together, and we know that that is only possible because of the generosity and the large-heartedness of so many people back home, who sacrifice not only from their plenty but also from the little that they have, and they make this happen and translate into a reality for so many of us. I think their contribution really goes far off to serve not only us as individuals, but also the church at large. So many areas in the world are right now sending their students here to Rome, to Santa Croce, for studies, because they know it is possible, because of the help that they will receive from benefactors, from students, which would have otherwise not been an opportunity available for them. Especially even from the country that I come, studying in Rome is a privilege, because it's so expensive otherwise to fund your studies. And I think because of the generosity of all our benefactors, I think their contribution really makes this experience possible. And it's not only a material contribution, but this material contribution translates also into a spiritual experience. And I think they've played a part in this spiritual experience because of their goodwill gesture. So I really look at them as, those the women in the early church who opened their homes to welcome people to celebrate the Eucharist there. And it would not have been possible for them to gather unless those women had opened those doors. And I think that benefactors today play that role of opening doors for us to really go and explore and learn more, to think more, so that we can really grow in theology and faith that can help others.
Great, beautiful. What about food? Have you come to love the Italian food, or do you still miss the food back in Mumbai?
No, I think I think I'm more of a person who likes to experiment with my food.
Oh,
So
great.
I absolutely love Italian food.
Good.
So yeah, I miss the spices
Yes.
of India, no
Yeah.
doubt. I miss the spices, but I think Italian food has its own charm, and each region is so different.
Yes.
I recently visited Naples.
Okay.
And for me, Naples was like going back home, because
Wow.
it's exactly like what Bombay was. It is crowded, it is loud, people are very emotive, so they are, always celebrating something.
Wow.
And I felt like I went back home. And it's so different from Rome and Milan, where, everything is so orderly, so elegant. And then you go to this region that is so chaotic, but chaotic in a good way. And I think, like, for me, that diversity is something that I celebrate and I really enjoy. So even in terms of food, for me, it's not been a great challenge, because I look forward to trying out different things, trying out different experiences. And it's been though my mother thinks that I've put on more weight after I've come here. So she thinks that I'm being fed well here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Father Kelvin.
Thank you so much.
And,
Thank you.
Appreciate
I loved
it. And
speaking to you.
prayers
Thank
for
you.
your ministry
Thank
and
you.
for your
God
diocese
bless
back
you.
home.
Thank you.
Thank you.